What is up, guys? Steve here with Scotch and Things, and it's time to do the 1 month review on the Socom Elite Auto. So if you watched my previous video, was the unboxing, first impressions, and then what I do is I carry the knife, solely that knife, along with a smaller blade usually, or if it's a small blade, then I always have two knives, a large blade and a small blade. Well, this was my large EDC for a month, and just kind of wanted to go over it and give you my thoughts. And honestly, guys, if you've watched any of my videos before where I talk about the Socom, it is kind of a grail knife. It doesn't have that super high-end price tag like some knives that people consider grail knives, but it was one I was always interested in. And after the first time I held one, if you've held one, I think you get the idea. It is such a great knife, in that after that first time holding one and then realizing how hard they are to get, because they are incredibly popular. They come and go from dealers, and they're really kind of hard to get. And in a perfect world, my ideal version would pretty much be like this, with a partially serrated blade and a Tonto edge. But I'm not going to complain, as you know. So my brother got me this for Christmas, and I was totally psyched. This thing is, it was great. Let's go over kind of how it carried. So a lot of people don't like that it carries tip down, and I prefer tip up carry also, but in this knife it makes sense. Just how it goes in the pocket, as you're bringing it out, you grab it and bring it out, it's right here ready to fire, and you don't have to flip it around. So it just makes sense. If you're one of those guys that's worried about tip down carry, I honestly wouldn't with this knife. It just makes sense. It works. I mean, for an auto, this thing just is a rocket, and also for an auto, to not have any blade play is awesome. Autos just seem to always kind of have a little bit of wiggle room in them. That's just their thing, but this thing is rock solid. We'll go over it again if you didn't know. It's M390 blade. A lot of people don't like that Microtech puts all this billboarding on. It doesn't bother me, especially on this knife. It just kind of fits, if that makes sense. It's a very tactical knife, and I think this knife nowadays, sometimes people really love it, but then they also kind of look down on it, because it is such a tactical knife, tactical looking knife. And it seems kind of like the trends or the fads nowadays is to kind of go away from tactical blades. But this thing, it just makes sense. And it's kind of weird if you're saying that doesn't make any sense, Steve. You just have to hold one and you get it. Yeah, it looks cool, it looks menacing, it fires super hard, but when you get it in hand, it feels so great. I mean, with this tapered handle, it just fits your hand, and it gives you multiple positions to, you want to put your thumb back here on the frame, or you can ride it up. And it's kind of weird, this is probably, I'm trying to think, my only knife where like jimping goes down, but it's comfortable. If you see, you get a really good, you can get a really good purchase there with your thumb, for pushing stuff through. And it's wintertime, so like when I say I EDC this for a month, it's not like, we're stuck in the house a lot. There was a cold stretch, you're not out, but I have this knife on me every day. We've been redoing parts of our house and cutting, caulking tubes and whatnot. And, it handles, for being such a tactical blade, it handles everyday uses like that, like cutting the tip off of a tube of caulk, or, cutting tags off of kids' clothes, those little plastic things. That it works for all of that. And I get why, Microtech does a pretty cool thing, and I think a lot of other companies too, but they offer these to law enforcement, military, first responders at a discounted price. And to be honest, if I were a cop, this is the blade I'd want to carry all the time. If something were to, if you're in a cop and you were in a difficult situation and you had one hand tied up or something, knowing that you could grab that and whip that thing out, it would make me feel better, knowing you had such a capable knife with pretty easy deployment at your fingertips. So it's definitely like a very tactical knife, but like I said, I used it in an everyday carry situation for a month, and it does all those cutting tasks that any of your other EDC knives will do. Just great. I just don't know what to say. Is it a big knife? Yeah, and that's why when I decided to start carrying larger knives, I also carry a smaller knife also in my back pocket. So, you know, if you are out with the family, you know, if you're in a restaurant or around other people, you know, and you're worried about what others might think, you know, whipping this big boy out, you know, I've got a smaller, say, Sebenza 21 or the Leak, something like that. That's a little bit smaller, not so frightening to people. But if this was your only knife, you'd be completely fine with that too. And let's be honest, for 300, like this version is around $300, and it's a fantastic deal. You can get them cheaper. I think if you don't get the, you know, you can get the stonewash blade. I think those come in around $270. You're getting a great value, I think. Compared to some other knives, I mean, it's American made. It's got a fantastic warranty. If you ever have an issue with it, you can send it in to Microtech and they'll take care of you. If you don't know how to sharpen it, you can send it in and they'll take care of you and sharpen it for you. I've seen videos on guys where they, you know, they'll break the tip off and you send it in and they'll reprofile it for you. It's good, and if you want to see how good these knives are, there's plenty of torture tests online on YouTube of guys just beating the crap out of these knives and them taking everything that you can throw at it. It's going to be hard to, it's honestly, I started carrying, so the 1 month was up for this knife and I had to start carrying another knife to review. And like I said, in a lot of these 1 month, I've acquired so many knives now, and I'm doing these month carries to actually get a good feel for them. It's kind of sad when I got to put a knife like this away, knowing I'm not going to carry it for a while again. That doesn't mean, you know, sitting at home watching TV, I'm not playing with it, not firing it, because it is such a great knife. And a lot of guys might say, well, it's aluminum, you know, it's not titanium, it's not there's no micarta inlays. Like, I mean, if you look at the knife hobby, the knife world, there, like with anything, there's trends, you know, and it seems like micarta and stuff like that is really in right now, and some guys might look down on aluminum handled knives. That's Microtech's thing. It's what they do. They do it very well, and I just really, I had wanted one of these for a long time and didn't realize how, when they were in stock, is when you need to get one, because they disappear and they're really hard to come by. And very lucky, like I said, very lucky my brother picked this up for me. And it's not going to go anywhere. It's one of my favorite knives. Like, it's one I'd wanted for a long time, and actually getting one, you kind of, you know, if you've played around with one in the knife shop, you realize how special it is. And then once you get one and get to carry it, you realize really how special this knife is. And it's not going to go anywhere. One thing I wanted to, like, a lot of people complain about Microtech's proprietary hardware, and I noticed it on my LUDT and on my Ultratech. It's got proprietary hardware, but this, for some reason, the Socom, I don't know I'll have to look at pictures. I don't know if older Socoms had proprietary hardware and they changed it for this one, but this one doesn't. So it's just got standard. I don't know where my bit selector is right now to check. Let's see if it's, we'll do a hardware check like people like to do and see what fits. Too big. But if you too small, I don't know what size it is. I don't care, because I don't plan on taking it apart. Something like this, like maybe someday in the future, like autos and OTFs, anything with crazy springs, I'm sure it might be pretty simple. I know guys do take them apart, but at this time I'm not going to take it apart. If I did ever have an issue, I would just send it into them. But it's, if you, like I was saying, if you've been on the fence about one and you can get one, definitely get it. I thought the manual has such a great action. I'm still gonna try and hunt one of those down, but that's, if you can only get an auto, get the auto. You're not gonna be disappointed. I think that's another thing. I think it's kind of trendy. You know, people were into assisted knives, and then autos were a big thing, and now it's all about smoothness and action and drop shut, this and that. And the manual version is all of those things. The action is great, drop shut, action, but let me tell you, that auto, there's just something very satisfying about firing this thing out and how hard it hits. You just know this thing is a beast, and it's up for anything. So I know this is a real gushing, you know, I love everything about this knife, but I do, after carrying it, I don't think there was anything I would change on it, honestly. I liked how it carried. I like how it feels. You know, is this more suited for like a self-defensive situation? Probably. Can you EDC it every day? Absolutely. So don't be afraid if you're on the fence about getting one that it might be too big or too scary looking. Just get it and enjoy it, because that's what this hobby's about. And it can definitely be a great EDC knife. You know, my brother wants me to take it to work and just really beat the crap out of it, but maybe someday in the future, I don't know. I've got dedicated work knives, and for me, I'm happy this thing just being an EDC knife and bringing it out to look at it and enjoy it from time to time. But I can't wait to get this back in the pocket, because it is such a special knife. You really have to try it to get the feel for it and see what I'm talking about, because they've done it right. It's a great design, and it's comfortable, and it does everything a knife should do, which is the big thing. You know, it cuts, it looks good, it makes you feel good. Just looking at it and holding it and playing with it, it's an absolute fantastic knife. I'm a huge fan of Microtech, you know, American company, like I said, and for them, like, to turn something like this out for $300, when it seems like a lot of American makers, because you get that American tag on it, you get into the $400, $500, $600 and up range. And for Microtech to still give you this really awesome knife for $300, that's a huge win. So thanks for watching, guys. Like, share, subscribe, comment down below what you think about the Microtech Socom Elite. Yeah, if you've been on the fence about it, purchase one 100%. You won't be disappointed. And if you can get your hands on one, even better. Because a lot of people like a knife, and then when they get it, they're disappointed. But I don't honestly think that would be the case for this knife for a lot of people. So yeah, there's my thoughts, guys, on a 1 month carry on this. Maybe I'll do a review later down the line as I get to carry it more longer, put it through some more harder use stuff. But it's been great. Thanks for watching, guys.